Hey, it's Chris Terros here from Nerds for Life blog. Today I'm going to be ranking all the Universe 7 fighters based on their performance from the Tournament of Power. So out of the 10 members of Universe 7, the one that I thought was, well, the least impressive was Tien. Sadly, such a cool character in the early stages of Dragon Ball Z as well as the later stages of Dragon Ball hasn't done much since that point. He was pretty much rendered useless roughly around the Saiyan Saga. I mean, he was involved in the Saiyan Saga and the Cell Saga, and I suppose a little bit in the Buu Saga, but he was pretty much useless in that whole period of time, and it didn't change in the Tournament of Power at all. Unlike all the other Universe 7 warriors, he didn't improve, even a little bit. Same old techniques that he was using 20 years ago. Looks about the same sort of strength as well. Kind of disappointing, considering I was really hoping Tien was going to do something. And the reason he's last is because, well, he didn't actually technically beat anyone. He drew against someone, but he didn't beat them. He was knocked off the Battle Royale ring, and he knocked someone else off with him. Wasn't that impressive. Now next is Krillin. Krillin was the first Universe 7 fighter to be knocked off the Tournament of Power ring. Yes, he was first, which might make you think Tien did a better job as he lasted longer, but in reality, Krillin beat someone before he got knocked off. Also, Krillin showed us that he can improve. He's improved his strength quite a bit since the end of Dragon Ball Z, and he's also come up with a range of new techniques, which Tien really didn't do. Unfortunately, he was knocked off quite early, and he ends up at number 9 on the list. Next is a character that has been pretty useless as well since the Cell Saga, and that's Piccolo. I mean, yeah, he had his moments in the last arc where, well, not the Goku Black arc, it was more the Champa arc, but in reality, he hasn't done much since he fused with Kami and fought Android 17. Not much changed in the Tournament of Power. He teamed up well with Gohan, but it was mostly Gohan doing the work. I mean, he did knock off a couple of warriors, but it wasn't that great of an effort. I would have thought that being a Super Namekian and, while fighting against other Namekians that had fused with significantly more people than what Piccolo had done, might have brought something out in Piccolo, but it just didn't bring out that much, and he's number 8, unfortunately. Now, number 7 is Android 18. Now, she did last a while, actually, but was restricted with an hurt ankle. She did manage to knock off Ribrianne, so that in itself probably should make her number 1, because that Universe 2 fighter was frustrating as fuck. But ultimately, she didn't do too much else. Yes, that was a great battle, and Ribrianne is a pretty good fighter herself, no matter how annoying she is. But again, she didn't do as much as some of the others that come after her. Now, some people might find this controversial, but I think that Frieza is number 6. I mean, yes, he is one of the remaining 2 fighters for Universe 7. Lasted longer than even Vegeta did, and Master Roshi and Gohan. And, well, only Jiren remains at the moment, but still, he hasn't done that much. He fought a lot of weaker enemies, and he did knock them off. He did fight some stronger ones, like Toppo, Jiren, and a few other fighters, but he was beaten really easily. So he didn't show that much throughout the tournament. We all kind of sat there wondering, what is he plotting? What is he going to do? When's he finally going to turn on the Universe 7 fighters? And nothing seemed to happen. Nothing at all seemed to happen. I mean, he did some cool stuff with Gohan where he teamed up with Gohan and knocked off Frost. But in reality, he hasn't done too much, and he ends up at number 6. Now, number 5 is the former Saiyan prodigy in Gohan. I mean, he did unlock a tremendous amount of power before the Tournament of Power began. He was pretty useless at the start as Dragon Ball Super, regardless of how little time frame the Battle of Gods incident and the Resurrection of F incident actually happened. He lost a ridiculous amount of power in that period of time. More power lost than the 7-year period between Cell and the Buu Saga, which kind of doesn't make any sense, but whatever, plot holes. Anyway, he finally started training again, and he was elected team captain, which he did a pretty good job of as well. He led the team pretty well in the early stages of the Tournament of Power until everyone sort of split up, and he took on some pretty good fighters in the Universe 6 Namekians and some other ones as well. But ultimately, he didn't do too much. I mean, everyone was kind of hoping there'd be some sort of awakening. He might unlock a new level, but it was the same exact power that we saw at the end of Dragon Ball Z. And that's kind of disappointing, especially as every other Saiyan, or maybe not Goten and Trunks, but most of the other Saiyans that we've seen predominantly in the Dragon Ball Super have unlocked a new level of power. And Gohan just seems to have not done that yet. Now, number 4 is a character that has shown more improvement than probably anyone else in all of Dragon Ball Super, and that's Master Roshi. Roshi has been pretty much useless since the end of Dragon Ball, and even arguably about midway through Dragon Ball when King Piccolo first appeared. He wasn't in any of the major Dragon Ball Z fights as well. He didn't train with Kami at the start of Dragon Ball Z before the Saiyans. He didn't fight the Saiyans. He didn't fight in the Cell Saga. And he didn't fight in the Buu Saga. And then suddenly Dragon Ball Super comes along and he's up there fighting Frieza's men and he's making an impact in the Tournament of Power. Master Roshi knocked off a ridiculous amount of fighters and at one point was actually leading Universe 7's tally for warriors knocked off. He used the Evil Containment Wave for the first time without killing himself. Last time he used it was during Dragon Ball, and using such a technique caused him to die. He used it, I think, 3 times in the Tournament of Power, and he sealed some pretty powerful enemies as a result. Roshi went up against characters that were ridiculously stronger than him, and he kept winning, and he didn't back down. There was a point in time where he literally almost died in order to win. As a result, he earned the respect of Beerus, and the respect of the rest of Universe 7 as well. He was the 3rd Universe 7 fighter to be evicted, but in all honesty, his efforts easily put him in 4th place. Now, number 3 is Android 17. I know, he probably should be number 2 or even number 1, considering he killed himself in order to save his comrades. He saved Frieza, we think. He saved Vegeta, and he saved Goku from a full attack by Jiren. Yet he didn't do too much else in the rest of the tournament. So, I mean, yeah, he fought some pretty cool fighters. He acted as a really good support, but he didn't do anything too exciting. But his noble sacrifice does put him at 3rd place. Now, next up is Vegeta. I know that technically Android 17 lasted roughly as long as Vegeta. He fought Jiren head-on despite him not having any strength left. He couldn't transform at all, and he couldn't really use any energy attacks, but still managed to fight Jiren, and, well, he let Goku recover a little bit, who he knew was a bit stronger than him. He also then gave Goku what little energy he had left just before falling off, and this allowed Goku to power up. Now, the reason Vegeta had no power left, and we kind of knew that he was going to be pretty much useless against Jiren, was because of the enormous amount of energy he used to defeat Toppo. Now, Toppo from Universe 11 was essentially a god of destruction. Yes, he was only a trainee, but he had pretty much mastered destruction power, and he was essentially just as strong as one. In order to defeat him, Vegeta had to pretty much surpass a god of destruction, and he did that. He used the same technique that he used against Buu all those years ago as Majin Vegeta, except this time it didn't kill him. He finally mastered that technique, and he surpassed even a god of destruction and defeated Toppo. Also, before that, he unlocked a new level of Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan, which is essentially just an ascended version of, well, the Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan transformation, or Super Saiyan Blue. If you guys remember, after the Super Saiyan transformation, there was actually an ascended Super Saiyan transformation before Super Saiyan 2. It's when they were all beefy and Vegeta called himself Super Vegeta. Well, essentially, this Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan form that Vegeta unlocked is pretty much the ascended version of the Super Saiyan Blue form. Now, it comes to no surprise that number 1 is Goku, right? I mean, think about it. He unlocked Ultra Instinct twice. He beat Kefla, who was ridiculously powerful. He pretty much knocked around Jiren the first time around, and now he's mastered Ultra Instinct and is one of 2 of the remaining Universe 7 fighters who are fighting Jiren. Frieza is nowhere to be seen. He's mastered Ultra Instinct within 48 minutes. That is ridiculous. It took Beerus millions of years to unlock Ultra Instinct, and we don't even know if he's actually, mastered it yet. The manga has suggested that even Beerus hasn't mastered its full form. So does that mean Goku has technically surpassed Beerus now? If he's able to defeat Jiren, then quite possibly, yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching. That's all the Universe 7 fighters ranked according to their performance on the Tournament of Power. Make sure to subscribe, like our Facebook page. Also, if you want more information, there's an article in the description below, or if you're watching this on Facebook, it's in the comments.